Starting next week, California will be the first state in the nation to eliminate the requirement for parking as part of new housing built near mass transit.
Supporters say this will help reduce the rising cost of housing while encouraging alternatives to California's car culture. CBS 8's Richard Allen has more on how this new law will work, as well as the concerns some residents are already raising.
Well, that's right. Governor Newsom calls this new law a win-win, promising to reduce housing costs for Californians while also helping to reduce emissions from cars, tackling the housing crisis and the climate crisis at the same time.
Basically, we're making it cheaper and easier to build new housing near daily destinations like jobs and grocery stores and schools.
Assembly Bill 2097, officially signed into law this fall, will prohibit minimum parking space requirements for new housing and commercial developments that are located within a half-mile of mass transit.
This means more housing at lower prices, closer to walkable neighborhoods and public transit.
Currently, developers on a statewide level are required to provide a minimum amount of off-street parking with each unit they construct, which drives up their cost by about $36,000 per apartment. Assemblymember Laura Friedman, who authored the legislation, points out that in some cases it can cost as much as $80,000 additionally per unit.
So it becomes very expensive, and of course that cost is passed directly on to the renters or to the buyers.
She also points out the impact this legislation will have on climate change by encouraging Californians to be less reliant on cars and focus on more sustainable modes of transportation.
So this is also about, answering the question of what do we do about all the cars and all the parking with, how about we run more meaningful, convenient, safe mass transit in our cities and focus on that.
Well, I love the idea of encouraging mass transit.
Carlsbad residents Laura Hunterberg and Nick Prendergast are on board with this new legislation and what it's aiming to accomplish.
The only problem with that is that we need more mass transit. We're from North County and we can only use the coaster to come down here because the transit doesn't go to where we are in Carlsbad.
Concerns have also been raised whether fewer on-site parking spaces will lead to more drivers parking their cars on the street.
So we already see everyone parking on the street, irritating the developments next to us because we're all parked up their street. I think you really need something to go that last half mile, otherwise people are just going to park everywhere.
Still, they're hopeful more Californians will embrace this idea of opting for alternatives to cars in the coming years.
We would love to use mass transit more often if we had that opportunity. If there was more infrastructure, I would be much more a proponent of doing it as well.
And AB 2097 goes into effect as state law beginning January 1st. For more information, just go to CBS8.com, click on the online version of this story.